tonight. And it's another session of C.E.D.A.R Table. And the focus today is going to be what goals got to do with it. For those that might have been familiar with Tina Turner years ago, you probably would have been familiar with the song, what has love got to do with it, right? And we sang those songs a lot. They probably used to play it a lot at parties. But I'm sure some people who are like generations after us, let me use the word generations after us, not years after us, because now it's like generations are the things that determine the people that are younger than you, not years, because there's a lot of gap now with the way we reason and make decisions and things like that. But if you know Tina Turner's What's Love Got to Do With It song, you probably would have got that click when you saw the title of this one. But I'm excited to have with us today Tolu Afonja, Oluyemisi Wole-Ojomo, and Tope Ogunfayo. Okay, so yes, let me read their bio, because we're going into deep gist today, and we have a lot of things to learn from them and to take from them. And the earlier we get into the gist, the better for us. All right, so let's start with Tolu. Tolu Afonja is a certified integrative life, relationship, and marriage coach, a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP for those who are more familiar with that term, an emotional intelligence certified professional with over 15 years as a human resource professional, cutting across education, banking, consulting, and coaching. She is passionate about nurturing individuals and couples to evolve to thrive. Now, you can imagine how I feel seeing the word thrive there, because that's a word I'm very fond of. As they gain clarity, overcome mindset limitations, discover their options, set and take intentional steps to optimize the best versions of themselves in their life, relationship, and marriage so that they enjoy happiness, satisfaction, and fulfillment. She achieves this through providing solutions as a lead coach with Evolve to Thrive Limited, and as a faculty member and chief operating officer of Olushola Lanre Coaching Academy. For those of you that may be familiar with the Catalyst, that's a business or a platform that he founded. Tolu Afonja is also the founder of Before Marriage, a relationship coaching program created to help engaged couples evolve to thrive together, preparing them for marital bliss. A certified SYMBIS, which means Save Your Marriage Before It Starts facilitator. She also works with married couples who desire to improve the dynamics in their marriage to enjoy happiness and fulfillment. So if anyone is seeking happiness, you see the person to look out for. I always bring the right people on board here. So if happiness is something that you are trying to work towards in life, Tolu is the person to look out for, okay? She anchored the Uncensored Talk, a live radio show on Lagos Talks 91.3 FM, focused on building strong and harmonious relationships and marriages. She has been featured on several radio and television programs such as Rave TV, TVC, Beat 99.9 FM, Inspiration FM 92.3, and so on. In March 2019, Tolu was honored with the Icon Award at the Coaching Icon Awards held in Lagos, Nigeria. She's a member of the Life Coaches Association of Nigeria, Society for Human Resource Management, Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, and Nigerian Institute for Training and Development. Wow. Okay, so everybody, you need to pay attention tonight. You can imagine the kind of people we brought on board today. Tolu is an accredited management trainer with the Nigerian Center for Management Development. Thank you, Tolu, for being here with us. We appreciate your presence. Okay, let's go to Oluyemisi Wole-Ojomo. Some of you will also be familiar with this face on C.E.D.A.R. Oluyemisi Wole-Ojomo is a HR professional and currently the lead consultant at Pishon and Brooks Advisory Services, a HR consulting company. She's also the co-founder of GapX, a social enterprise focused on supporting the career growth of women. She has about 20 years work experience across human resource management and information technology with the financial services industry and management consulting within Nigeria and about 20 countries across Africa. She has worked with different banks and companies such as UBA, FCMB, Keystone Bank, Hearst Holding, and Intercontinental Bank, where she started her career. She's a certified trainer and coach and a member of the John Maxwell team. She is passionate about helping people discover, develop, and maximize their potential so that they can live a fulfilling life. She holds a master's degree in human resource management from Cardiff University, United Kingdom, and a bachelor's degree in electronics computer engineering from Lagos State University. MC, it's good to also have you here with us on C.E.D.A.R Table. Okay, Temitope Ogunfayo is a familiar face on C.E.D.A.R, And I know that some of you might still be meeting him for the first time today, so we will still read his bio for you. Tope Ogunfayo studied mechanical engineering at Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria and recently obtained his MBA from Warwick University in the UK. Upon graduating, Tope joined Procter & Gamble in Nigeria and has worked with the firm for the last 17 years in what he described as an interesting career. He currently leads the supply chain for baby care business of P&G in India, Middle East, and Africa, having risen through the ranks across different disciplines and departments, including manufacturing, supply planning, demand planning, and initiatives planning. I said this the last time he was on C.E.D.A.R Table, and I'm saying this again. When you have to do anything around planning, Tope Ogunfayo is the person to speak with. He was vice president and then president of Christ Ambassador Student Outreach CASO in OAU Ile-Ife. During this period, the fellowship experienced phenomenal growth and impact on campus, becoming one of the largest and most dynamic student bodies. He was till 2019 the head of Family Life Unit of the Elevation Church Mainland, where he empowered couples and families to live a fulfilled and fun-filled life, a role he held until he left Nigeria for his current position. Training and imparting knowledge are great passions both in and out of the workplace for him. It's why he volunteers now and again as a faculty member on C.E.D.A.R by the Polished Lens. Tope is married to his beautiful friend Olubukola, and together they are privileged to care for and nurture 3 angels under their roof. They both run a faith-based marriage and ministry fortified together. Okay, so don't worry. I know most of you who are probably meeting these people for the first time will be like, oh wow, you're just making our heads spin with this bios you read today. So I'm not going to say too much about myself, but for those who might be seeing this for the first time, because the plan that we have is to have this session also uploaded for some time. We're not fully decided if we're going to have it permanently on our YouTube channel. But for those who probably will be meeting me for the first time, I just thought to drop this bit about me. But I guess over time, as you watch more of what we bring to the table on C.E.D.A.R, you'll get to know more about me. So I like to refer to myself as the perception shaper. I support people to thrive, particularly in life transitions and to a next level. I do this as a coach, podcaster, and sometimes through headshot photography. I'm certified with the John Maxwell team and your host here on C.E.D.A.R by the Polished Lens. And in addition, with my husband, Tope, on the platform of Fortify Together, we support couples, especially those in leadership roles, to enjoy and build faith and marriages that leave legacies. We are also certified Simbi's facilitators and with Marriage on the Rock USA. Okay, that was, Matt really was like, I was in class in secondary school again, where the teacher will pick you and tell you, you are the one reading the reading for today. Some of us used to dread being picked, and some who used to like the way they sounded used to like, being picked by the teachers. I'm not sure which one you fall in, but I'm happy that's over so that we can go into the gist. Okay, so when we put up the post for this session tonight, one of the things that I stated was goal setting. Is there a force about it? What are your thoughts? Is it, would you say you are team yay or team nay? And I think that's where I want to start today. All right. So we'll start with Yemisi. Yemisi, what team do you belong to? Are you team for or team against, or you're neutral, or what would you like to say about the force? I mean, it's the beginning of the year, and everywhere, where you have motivational speakers, coaches, mentors, even businesses, they're all talking about goals. What are your thoughts on that? Let's start with that, because I'm sure some people would have been expecting us to say, okay, what is the meaning of goals? We don't do that here. We try to dig deeper. Let's not start there. Let's start with, what are your thoughts? Yay, nay, and what's the force about? All right, so we start with you, Yemisi.
Okay, thank you, Bukola, for having me here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you so much for having me here. I'm definitely team yay. I'm a huge fan of goals because they help you align the things that you need to do, the targets that you need to achieve every time. So it may not be annually, like I always tell people that I coach, set it bit by bit so that you can achieve them as you run. So goals for me are very important because they keep you focused and they help you achieve the results that you need to achieve. Without goals, I mean, you just be running like a headless chicken. There won't be substantial results that you can look back a time and evaluate the things that you have done to say, these are the things I've achieved. So goals give you that focus and align your activities and things so that you achieve a target.
And what would be your thought about the force? If you're Team Ye, does that give it?
Because it's very important. Anything that is very important always has a lot of noise around it. And I know people, before people come up to tell you that you need to set goals, they would have gone through the process of not setting goals, seen the benefits of setting goals, and they want to quickly share it with others. I don't think anybody will just read through a book and tell you that come and start setting goals. No, they are talking out of first-hand experience, and that's what they really want. They are hot to share it. It's something that they have tested, tried and tested, and it works for them. So they want to share it with people. So really, that's the whole force about it. What people are very much confident in, they would want to share with people.
Awesome. I like that perspective, that people are making a fuss about it because there's an importance or an experience tied to it. Tolu, what about you? What Team Ye, Team Nay, Team Neutral?
Thank you, Bukola. I am Team Ye.
Okay.
Yeah, Team Ye. Yeah. So, because really, I heard this about 3 years ago from someone, and he said something that it's either you're setting goals or the goal is setting you. So whether you like it or not, whether you are intentional about it or not, there is a target. Now, that target, are you doing it intentionally to get to that target, or you're getting to someone else's target? Is the target for you or for somebody else? So either way, whether we like it, in the scheme of life, there is always something that we are working towards. But what we're working towards, is it for us? Is it beneficial to us or beneficial to somebody else? Now, the fuss about it right now is really about the intentionality in actually determining that this is for me and this is what I want. Because it has been, when we're intentional about it, then it gives one an element of fulfillment, that I started this and I finished it. That I set this, I had that determination. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, and I got there. This meeting was a goal that was set for you. And then you invited us, and it was a goal we set for ourselves, that, okay, we needed to be here at a particular time for this meeting. So sometimes we look at it at very big things, but really, in the scheme of life, every day we are setting goals for ourselves. We wake up in the morning to brush our teeth at a particular time. That is a goal that you have set, whether it has become a habit or not, but it has become something. So there are the little things and there are the big things, what we'll consider as such. So I'm yay for goals.
I like that. I like that. And you probably threw me off in a nice and good way when you said it's either you set it or it sets you. That one I think is going to be one that I will not forget for a very long time. So for Ogunfayo, what about you? What team are you? Team nay, yay, neutral, and what makes it so for you, and why the force? Why the force?
So thank you again for having me. I cannot compete with Tolu's yay. I'm not even going to try. So again, I'm all for goals. For those of us around this part of the world, we like football, right? I don't know how interesting a game of football is if when you remove the goalpost. I think when you remove the goalpost, the game of football is over. I don't think the fans will be there. It's the same with life. When you remove the goal, the game of life is over. It's game over. Everyone go home. We'll be so unruly, everyone just doing what they like. The goalpost is what gives life definition. It's what gives living definition. So you want to score. There is a place where you want to score, and when you score, you are happy, you're excited, and you say, okay, bring it on. Let's go for the next match. That's how I view goals. Now, I know there's a lot of fuss about it, and in this case, I'm in Yemisi's camp. I'm not a fan of all these yearly goals that we set, and we put people under a lot of pressure and tension. Okay, we must, the new year. So December, last week in December, first week in January, where are your goals? I'm not a fan of that. I think that's just unnecessary pressure. I am a fan of setting daily goals, like Tolu said, weekly goals, and sometimes your goals are 3-5 years out. I started by setting 1 year goals, and I saw that it was almost repetitive every year. You know, I didn't really achieve the goal. Then I moved it to next year. Then I received wisdom, and I started setting 3 to 5 year goals. So when everyone was under pressure this year to set goals, I wasn't bothered, because I had my 3 to 5 year goal 5 years back that I'm still running with. I just look at it again. What should we add? What should we remove? And that's it. I believe that goals is what gives you a sense of satisfaction, because I was reading somewhere that happiness is your result minus your expectations, right? Everyone is happy when your expectation is lower than your result. Goals is what gives definition to that. It helps you define something such that when the result comes, you can then look back and say, oh, I'm happy. I've exceeded what I'm expecting, or oh, I have a long way to go because I've not met that expectation. So I'm for goals, but I differ a bit on all the force around it. I don't think it's as difficult as we try to make it look, especially in this part of the world, towards the end of the year or beginning of a new year.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that perspective. Thank you for sharing that. I like the fact that you've chipped in a bit of your own positioning based on the fact that you just saw, what we call in the bank rollover. When you have an investment and then your bank officer or your banking officer doesn't reach you on time, and because they don't get more new information from you, no new information, and they're like, as long as we don't get new information from you, the default is that we will roll over. So it's like our goals are like that. If they don't get a new information from you that something has been done to tick it off, automatically it is rolled over. So thank you for bringing that perspective to us. We appreciate that. Tolu, I know that you're also in the coaching space and you do some work around goal setting for people. I think one of the things that I would like to hear, I think I would also want to hear from the three of you, without actually defining goals in the way that somebody would be like, what are you? I don't want to hear the definition of goals, right? So you could let us know what you feel goals could be, something, that would leave someone with, oh yeah, I never even thought that could be a goal, right? But at the same time, we also want to hear from you, what could connect people to the goals that they set? Because I think that's also one of the things that make some people feel a bit detached from the process, if at all they want to do it. What could help someone to be in a great place with goal setting?
Okay, so I hear two questions. The first thing is, what is the goal in simple terms? And then the second is connection to the goal, and all. So in simple terms, I would just say a goal is a destination, whatever that destination may be for you, somewhere that you have, somewhere that you want to get to, whether it's in any area of your life. It's a defined destination that that you want to get to. That is a goal. It could be the company goal is the company's destination, and you are one of the players in the whole mix to, work with the company to get into that goal. So there must be a destination, and that's what I think I would say a goal is. Now, with regards to connections to goals, there can't be goal setting if there's no destination. So you must know exactly what you want. Where is that destination? Even if you don't have it all clear, you have an idea of where you're going to. And for me, powerfully, the connection with goal setting, and so I'm going to connect goal setting and achievement of that goal, because it's one thing to set, it's another thing to achieve. So the setting and achievement of the goal, for me, is the power of visualization. So visualization is when you sit and you think and you imagine and you see yourself in the successful element of completion of that goal. And because you have seen it happen, then at that time, there is a connection to it. So you see, you hear, you feel what is happening to you at that success point. And it's like you now come back to reality, and the connection is so real that if I have seen it happen, it has happened. And so when you're talking about working in that goal, or planning or working towards that goal, it's like a done deal for you, because you have seen that connection, that I have seen it completed already. I have felt it. I have heard the things around me and all. And so there's some form of empowerment within you to run the race or do everything that you need to do. Even when there might be barriers or challenges, because you have been in a place of experiencing the finished outcome, the success measure for you, then you're quick to look for options, alternatives to continue to take you along that road. So it's the power of visualization for me.
Awesome. I like that. I like the simple way you put it in at the beginning, saying that the goals, just see it as the destination where you just you head to. I also like the way you mentioned the power of visualization there. I know one thing that I also try to let people know when you have this visualization thing in place with this work or this process is that it helps you become familiar with that end just before you get there. It's something familiar, just like saying, for those of us that had grandparents, you know how it is when even your grandparents passed on and you went to their house and maybe just to check up something, and you just had this familiar thing there because it's not strange, it's not new to you. So that's what happens when we have that visualization in place. So I definitely concur with that, and I thank you for bringing that to our mind today. Dayton, I see your comment on Facebook saying that we need to set SMART goals, definitely, and we need to also break it down to help us to achieve them. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for joining live as well. Okay, so Yemisi, this is for you. Now, when I was reading Yemisi's bio, I forgot to mention that if you're someone who's trying to chart something in your career, this is the person you should be connecting with. I can vouch for our career coaching ability because, we've had a few sessions together. And so, Yemisi, when we bring this whole goal setting thing to the career space, right, what would you say could affect someone from setting a goal for themselves or from accomplishing it in the career space particularly? Because I think the challenge for career people is that they're not thinking about it because in their mind, they're like, I already have a job description. So why am I even doing anything outside of that? So they don't think about it personal. But I mean, for you, if you were going to be sitting in session with a client, how would you be bringing their mind to the essence of this goal setting thing, looking at the career point of it? And if possible, tell us what a goal is in a simple way from your own perspective.
Right. Thank you. Okay, in terms of career, goals in terms of career, one thing I tell people is first things first, take ownership of your career. There's something Tolu said, well, is it that you have a goal or the goal is driving you? Is it that you're the one achieving a goal or the goal is driving you? If you're not taking full ownership of your career, somebody else's. And what it means is that you're running somebody else's vision. And what that means is that you get to a point where you get frustrated. And when you're frustrated, it means that things are not just looking the way you want them to be. And people, that's the point where people come to people like me, because they'll tell you, I don't know how I got here. I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. But if right from the very beginning, you've taken ownership of your career, I tell people that, look, the organization will run your life the way it suits them because they're in a business. And it's painful when you leave your life for the organization to run. But if you've set goals or if you have a vision for yourself, that's what Tolu says, power of visualization. You should have a vision for yourself. What do I see for myself? What do I want to accomplish? And I'll put in an example. You get a job as a customer service officer. You cannot die a customer service officer. You must have a plan for yourself. The organization has seen you fit for a role because that is what suits them. That's what suits them. But for your own life, from day one, take ownership of it. What do I want to achieve? What do I see for myself? That's why I said vision is very important when you're setting goals. What do you see for yourself? I want to become CEO in 5 years. I want to become this in 10 years. This is what I want to achieve. This is the goal I want to achieve. This is the target I want to achieve. How do you get there? Then you begin to plan. That's where it comes, breaking down your goals into smaller bits. So for career people, take ownership of your career. What do you see? What do you want for yourself? Then set goals based on what you want for yourself. If not, you will find out that you are just running around in circles. That's one thing we've said since we started here. And I think Tope also said it. You just find out that there's chaos and you get to that point where you just don't know what to do. So in terms of your career, just take ownership of it from the very beginning. Know what you want. What are the things that you want? Then come up with the goals that will get you to where you want to go. So if it's in terms of getting more education based on the direction you want to go, get education. If it's exposure, I always say there are 3 ways in which we learn: education, exposure, and experience. Set goals around this. What experiences do I require to become CFO? The fact that I started off, when you were reading my bio, you said I've worked within the financial services and management consulting, and I have experience in HR and IT. I started off in IT, but I knew I wasn't going to go far. I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. I discovered what I really wanted to do, and I began to set goals for myself to achieve the things I wanted to achieve. So as I took ownership of it, I could still have been, there are people that we worked together at my very first employment, and they are still there. And when I call them, they'll tell you, I'm still here. I was shocked when I spoke to somebody. I was trying to fill a role, and I called up the guy and I said, what are you doing now? He said, I'm still there. I almost passed out. You're still there after almost 20 years. I couldn't believe it. So take ownership of your career. I did it. What do I want to do? I began to set goals for myself. Immediately I achieve one, I move on to the next. So the most important thing is that know what you want. Take ownership of your career and run in that direction.
Awesome. Awesome. That's interesting. That's interesting. I like the nuggets that have been dropped along the line. It's nothing too big, and I'm sure anyone who is paying attention would be able to start connecting the dots in some of the things that you guys are dropping for us today. And the bit about taking ownership, two scenarios were coming to me. I think for people who are in big organizations, where they have this impression that, okay, this would happen if you stay in this role for this number of years, you will have 1 or 2 trainings that you automatically move. I think they might be the people who have not really been intentional to do this, because there's a flow, there's already a setting, yes, right? And so I want you to let us know what your thoughts are on that. And then the second scenario that comes to mind for me are people who feel undeserving of thinking something bigger. And I'm even talking as simple as the people who work for us, gardeners and cleaners. I know I've told not 1, not 2 cleaners who have worked with us, or people in that space with us, that I don't expect you to be doing this thing in 5 or 10 years' time. Why would you assume that this is what you'll be doing for a long time? Because even I am not expecting that I'll be here in 5 or 10 years' time. So I usually ginger that conversation with them, that what do you want to do? Because I always ask that, what do you want to do beyond this? But yeah, let's hear your thoughts on that, because this is still career and, life work related.
All right, so the first question, people that work in structured organizations where there is already a career path charted for them.
Yeah.
I'm sure once you starts off with an organization, and like I said, the organization already has a plan based on what suits them. If the role doesn't suit you, you can navigate around it. First things first, you don't have to die there. I started off in a very large organization in IT, and I knew that wasn't where I wanted to be, and I navigated my way out of it. You don't have to grow on one line. That's why they say there is vertical growth and there is horizontal. You can either grow vertically, or you can move out and begin to grow vertically, move out horizontally and begin to, that's in career management. Is that you're going vertically, you are happy with what you're doing. Maybe you're an accountant and you landed in finance. That's what you wanted to do. But you're an accountant and you landed in operations, and that's not what you want to do. Navigate your way back to operations, then you begin to enjoy your growth vertically. I'm sure most organizations have room for that. Look for those opportunities to navigate your way back to what you want to do. And if the organization, I tell people, if the organization is not willing to support your vision for your life, you can part ways with them. You can part ways with them. The most important person is you. Because if the organization uses you for, I don't want to use the word use it, but if you help the organization achieve his or her its own goals, you'll get to a point where you need fulfillment for yourself. If you find fulfillment in what you're doing within that organization, fantastic. There's no need running helter-skelter. But if there's no fulfillment for you as an individual, nothing stops you from parting ways. But there must be something that is driving you. And that driver, and there's something driving you and you're in control of that thing. Make sure you run in the direction of what you want to do for yourself.
Awesome.
In terms of gardeners, I would share a story with you. Yes, I always ask that question. In fact, when I started my job, and my very first job as an ET, because I was in IT, I used to move around a lot, supporting people. And anytime I got the opportunity of being with a senior management person, in executive director, whatever, I would ask that question. Are you, as I'm working on your laptop for you, as an ET, I'll just ask you, so how did you get here? Are you happy? Somehow, the conversation will just go around. Are you happy with your career? I've engaged people across board. And some of them will tell you, well, it's okay. Do you understand? So if people at that level, I engage them. I also engage people below me, drivers and things like that. I remember at my very first job, I had a cleaner who used to clean the department I worked with. And I just used to encourage him. I asked him, what do you want to do? He said he wants to go back to school. Fantastic. So I supported him. He wrote JAM, moved on, wrote WAEC, did everything. You won't believe that when I got into one of the banks in which I got into, I helped him into that bank.
Wow.
He worked there. I left the bank. He continued to work there.
Wow. Wow.
I can share loads of, so you don't have to be where you are. That's the conclusion.
Awesome.
The power to make the change lies with you. And guess what? It's your life. And you only have that one. There's no dress rehearsal. We're living the life now.
Wow.
So whether it's in your career, family, whatever, they all cut across. You deserve to be happy at your job, in your family, with whatever it is you're doing, you deserve to be happy. So take ownership of it at whatever level you're in.
Wow, thank you for that perspective. And it's interesting. I think the question is, so while we're trying to pursue our own journey on this goal setting, goal pursuit, and things like that, is being conscious of the fact that the people around us could also need a bit of that trigger. And that's why there's a force about it, because people who have been on fire with goal setting and have seen results are like, don't tell me you're not setting goals. So you can see how we're actually making it clear that that's why there's a lot of force around it. So if you have this is 4 of us here, we're talking about the value. So you can imagine 1,000 of us on social media or much more, that there's no way you wouldn't be, clouded with that, everywhere you go, you are hit by it and all of that. And that's why it makes it a valuable one. Tope Ogunfayo, I know that you're also in a very structured environment. And I know that you probably would have your own experience with waking up and probably realizing, if I don't take ownership of what I want, I will just find myself as, things go. So I would also want your input on what Yemisi has shared with respect to charting the goal setting thing in a defined environment. Then I also want you to add for us what you think could be a watch out for people when they are now pursuing those goals.
Okay. Thank you for that. I think Yemisi dealt with that extensively. The only thing I will say is, so there is, I think it was Tolu who talked about the element of vision in goal setting. Yeah, that's clear. And when people try to set goals with this vision mindset, they are setting very high goals, lofty goals, and there's nothing wrong with that. I always tell people, it's okay to build castles in the air, right? That's where castles are meant to be. they are meant to be in the air. So it's okay to build castles in the air. The only problem is you now need to sit down and build foundations under them. Any castle that you build in the air without foundation under them is a useless castle. You only see that in movies. If you really want to build a castle that endures, build it in your visioning, but there is a part you play by putting foundation under them. That's where the rubber meets the road. And that's what, Yemisi and Tolu have been talking about. You need to chart a course, okay? And so when you're setting a goal, there is the measurable part of the goal. There is the, how-to part of the goal, okay? A lot of people just set goals, and you can set a goal to be the CFO of your company tomorrow. That doesn't cost a dime. Everybody, you don't need to be smart to do that. And you can even confess and profess it. But that doesn't make you a CFO. You can do that till kingdom come. You will not be a CFO. You only start to get serious when you now put foundation under that vision. What do I need to do to get there? What are the steps? And you put them down. Do I need some qualification? Do I need certain results to get to a CFO? You need certain amazing results, right? How do I get that result? In an organized environment, there are other things you need. You need the right sponsorship. Do I have those connections, mentorship, sponsorship in my network? Do I have them? If you don't have them, you will not become a CFO for sure. You can be smarter than the greatest CFO on earth without the right sponsorship, mentorship. Because those are the people who will tell you, hey, there's something there. Go there, go and do that assignment, and as you do it, there's an opportunity that opens up. I was discussing with a colleague once who goes very fast. And of course, I try to study people. I'm not part of those who are wondering, this one that has spent only 50% of the time I spent here, and we're at the same level. No, I want to know, what did you do? And then she said something so profound. She said, look, my first assignment here, I met a vice president that decided to mentor me. So when the person picks the phone and says, X, go to this country, go and do this assignment, I don't ask any question. That person must have seen something. So I pack my bag, I go there, I do the assignment, and with almost each of those assignments, I got a promotion. That's why I got here 50% of the time that it took others to get there. There was a mentorship, there was a sponsorship somewhere there. And of course, there is the equity bit that you also need to build, and so on and so forth. But my point is, you envision it, but please, the earlier you know that the rubber needs to meet the road, the better for you. You plan towards it. You get the results necessary, get the connection necessary, get everything that is necessary, and all things being equal, when you add that to God's favor, right man, right place, right time, then you will get to your destination.
Thank you, Tope Ogunfayo, for that. I like the fact that we need to just be aware that the foundation building is critical. It's something to watch out for when we are setting the goals, because if we are not mindful of that in a way, then we could just be doing hit and miss at the end of the day. However, a thought came to me now while you were saying that, and I'm wondering, is it perhaps the reason why people are afraid to set goals? Because in their mind, they're like, I don't want to think about how I'm going to set it, so I don't want to even bother setting the goal because I don't want to worry about how to do it, right? And so, Tolu, this is for you. And I think I would probably ask the three of you on this one. What could make a goal unrealistic? Because people will say, the reason why I don't set goals because, I don't want to set unrealistic goals for myself. At what point are you able to bring someone's mind out of I don't want to use the word fear, because people say, no, it's not a fear, it's reality, really. Because if you've met stubborn people, that's what they will tell you. People who feel like they are not on the right track, or rather, let me put it this way. They could be on a better track, and then they'll be arguing with you that I won't set these goals because I feel like setting goals is unrealistic. There are some things I cannot determine, and just like what Tope Ogunfayo just said, now he's talking about foundations. What foundations are we talking about? No. So what would you say to such a person? I would ask the three of you that, but Tolu, you go first.
So, the goal setting process, when we talk about SMART goals, especially, you're looking at realistic goals as well. And so while setting goals, it's very, very important that you check your reality. You check your reality, and that is an evaluation of where you are. Sometimes you're setting that goal for the first time. Sometimes it's a repeated thing. Sometimes it is just a small chunk of a larger chunk, okay? So, but in checking your reality, if it's the first time goal, okay, you're looking at where are you now? What are the challenges that you foresee? What are the barriers that you're looking at? What can you do now concerning those barriers? Usually, they may still want to run with that goal, but then the time. So they see that, the timing is not realistic for me. I need to shift it a bit forward. But that is also being, because in goal setting, you've got to learn to be flexible. You've got to learn to also be open to new options that may come its way. During goal setting, there's a lot of brainstorming that comes with it. So in that process, it's not just about yes, there's visualization, there's the power of writing it down and chalking it downwards. But then when you now need to start taking those fundamental steps of laying the ground foundation, what are you going to start with in the right direction of achieving that big thing? It is very, very critical and important that you check your current reality. So someone that hasn't made 100 naira in a month is setting a goal of $1 million in 1 year. You're going to ask that, okay, in this, how come you have made only 100 naira in this month? What extra thing do you think you would do to make you get, if you chunk down 1 million into 12 months, per month, how much are you going to get? You've not made 100 naira, you want to make $1 million. So it's to now and it's not really to just tell them that, it's impossible. No, it's the power of helping them to see that their current reality and where they say they are going to, what else can they do to be able to not feel that they are sabotaging that goal, because there's some people connect goals to dreams, your fantasies. And so because I have this huge fantasy and all of that, they say it's a goal and they must achieve it, but the reality checks you that, okay, where am I now? Because at the end of goal setting, you want to achieve it. And that achievement is connection to the feeling of fulfillment, satisfaction, and bliss for yourself. I always work with people. I always tell people that when you're setting goals, connect the achievement of that goal to your fulfillment, satisfaction, and happiness. So if you get $1 million, what will $1 million do for you? If you get 100,000 naira, what will 100,000 naira do for you? Some people will say, there's financial security. I can do anything. Okay, so when you're able to do anything you want to do, what will that do for you? So until you're able to connect it to that ultimate intangible feeling of achievement, fulfillment at the peak of Maslow's hierarchy, what we're all looking for, it is really that we are looking for that, that the achievement of this goal gives me fulfillment, satisfaction, happiness, and whatever it is that we want to call it. So when you're looking at reality, it's very important that you check your reality, your current realities, and then see how you can tweak the goal to be sure that you're not the one sabotaging it. Check yourself, your environment, your identity, your values, your beliefs. I mean, these are some of the things that I'm sure you're still going to talk about later. But then it is actually saying this doll or this teddy bear somewhere, can this teddy bear actually get up and move? So you're setting a goal, Teddy, I want to get up and move. I'm getting up and moving to VI for those of us that's in Lagos. Will that teddy bear, intangible, animated teddy bear, will it actually get up and move? As in, what is your basis? What is your foundation? What is the reality of that? You need to do some things to activate that teddy bear to get up and move. It's not impossible, but you're not just going to say, I've set this goal for this teddy bear to move and it must move. You need to check the reality of that teddy bear now. What are you going to do to make that teddy bear get up and move? Now, you may say that this teddy bear is going to get up and move in 1 hour. But all the things you're going to do to activate that movement cannot be accomplished in 1 hour. So what processes, what do you need to go back and do to ensure that that teddy bear is able to get up and move within a time frame that is realistic for you? So it's very important to check your reality.
Yeah, so checking the realities is a key one for people who say things like, oh, I don't want to even go into the process because I don't want to set unrealistic goals for myself. Yemisi, do you have something to add to that?
Yes, I do. Coming from a bit of spiritual angle, right? The Bible says, without vision, my people perish, right? That means without vision, my people don't achieve anything. They are destroyed. Now, I believe immediately I hear people say things like that. I don't set goals. I don't, that kind of thing. Tope has said something. He sets 3 to 5 year goals and he walks around it. That's a goal. Or that's somebody who has somewhere where he's going. He has a vision. Anybody who tells me that I don't like to set goals has no vision. Because if you know what you want to do, you will be working towards it. If you don't even call it goals, call it whatever it is, milestones, whatever it is, there must be something that you're working towards.
Yeah.
There must be something driving you. So first things first, when somebody says, I don't want to, when it comes to things that you don't have to make it fancy. You don't have to make it big. But there must be something that is driving you. There's something you're saying for yourself. You want to buy a house this year, 2022. How do you want to achieve it? If you tell me you don't want to set goals, what it means is that you're not even thinking about those things. That means, like Tolu said in the beginning, the goal is driving you. Just tossing you to and fro. Because that's what will happen. At the end of the year, you just look at yourself. One of the benefits of setting goals is evaluating and seeing the results, because that's the target. You must achieve results. So at the end of time, let's not even put it at the end of 2022, at the end of time, at the end of quarter one, at the end of day one, at the end of whatever time, you're going to ask yourself a question. So what have I done? I don't know if people don't ask themselves those things. Every day before I close my eyes, I ask myself, so what did I do today? It must be something, I don't know. I can't.
Thank you, MC.
I'll just sum it. If you don't have a vision, I agree, you won't set goals. I agree with you, you won't set goals. If you have a vision, you will set goals.
True. I think what I like that you said, and I just wanted to throw that out there, because I think for some people, the struggle is with some keywords because of the way goals have been passed on to them. It's just like the word mathematics, right? For some people, when they hear math, they're like, forget it. I don't even want anything around figures. Meanwhile, when it comes to counting money, that's not an issue. Because in that context, they flow, right? But when it comes to doing the exams, they're like, no, don't bring it near me. And so, like Yemisi said, if you don't want to call it goals, if you like, call it dreams. If you like, call it visions. If you like, call it something I would like to do, something I like to have. One of our mentors in the John Maxwell space, who, when she's talking about goals, would even say it could be something you want to experience. It doesn't have to be, because many times people think about something I have to go after and get, or something I have to achieve. It could be just
something lofty.
Exactly. So they're thinking something
big.
Yes.
I want to buy a private jet.
Exactly. I want to go for my MBA this year. So that's like daunting. And they're like, no. So it could be something you want to experience. It could just be something, even those simple times when and then she would say it could be unconscious. Of course, when you work with coaches like us or mentors like us, we will tell you, no, we have to clarify this thing and write it down, right? But even on your own, before working with people formally, every time you have it unconsciously in your mind, it's a goal. But let's not call it a goal if you don't want to call it a goal. Whatever you want to call it. Tolu said something at the beginning, it's a destination. Where do you want to go? Where are you headed? And I think that's a way to look at it. But talk about Ogunfayo, I don't know if you want to add anything to that bit on when people say, I don't want to go that way because it could be unrealistic.
Yeah, especially if people are afraid that, so what would happen if at the end of the day I don't achieve it? Will people tag me a failure? I think that's the problem. And for those, my encouragement is, come on, if I leave Lagos, that I'm going to Ile-Ife, okay, even if I have not arrived in Ile-Ife, if I'm in Ibadan, I've made some progress. I think also the world is not fair to people when it comes to goals. They are like, oh, you didn't meet your goal. No, come on. You've made progress. You are better than someone in Yemi system who didn't even have a vision to start, right? My encouragement to such people is break it down. Break it down. So don't just write a goal, I want to run a marathon. A marathon, for your information, is 42 kilometers, and you've not run 100 meters. Okay, that's fine. You can put 42 kilometers as the vision, but break it down. If that's your 5-year goal, what do you want it to be at the end of year 1? If you run 5 kilometers at the end of year 1, that's success. Celebrate, take yourself out. That's okay. 5 kilometers, yes, it's still very far from 42. But year 1, I make it. Then year 2, I go to 10 kilometers. Year 3, I'm running half marathon. Beautiful. The problem is people are not detailed enough to break it down. So you say you want to run a marathon, and after year 1, you have 5 kilometers, and you feel like a failure. Not necessarily. So I understand the feeling of, I didn't get there, so I'm a failure this year. And that's why I don't like all these yearly goals, personally. Again, I'm making that very clear now, because, then you feel dejected at the end of the year, and then you set the 42 kilometer again the next year, and then the next year, and then the next year. After 5 years, you are like, this 42 kilometer that we've been setting since 5 years ago. So break it down. Break it down. If you get 5 meters, if you set a goal to earn 1 million, like the example Tolu gave, from 100, okay, fine. But where do you want to get to at the end of the quarter? Is it 500? That shows that, wow, we're making some progress. We're making some progress, right? Even if you don't get there, who will arrest you? Nobody will arrest you. I've set goals that have shifted the goalpost. If it doesn't happen, we've made progress, we're better, it makes me feel better, life goes on.
Thank you so much. I think if I want to connect some of the things that, I've heard now is the part about being comfortable enough to just appreciate the steps you've taken. Because I think, for some people, it's just this fear of failure, that if I said it and I don't meet it, then how are people going to perceive me, or how am I going to see myself? I'm going to probably see myself in that light and all that. But us being able to say, I will put this benchmark or milestones along the way, and as soon as I get there, left to me, I think I'm making progress in the direction of what I want. Again, instead of the goals that others are setting around me, pulling me here and there. And I like the fact that you also said, if you now discover that the timing or the process or something you have noted against it is not working for you, you shift the goalposts. It's up to you. It's just that that bit. And yes, Tolu is also emphasizing for us that we need to now appreciate those milestones and celebrate ourselves, which is one of the watch things that we also encourage people when we work with them, that look, when you have gotten to this, anytime you've made a bit of progress, you need to encourage yourself, celebrate yourself, and, be in that space. Awesome. I know that time is fast spent, but this is the juicy part left to me, because some people will think that because of the kind of people we have on the panel today, they were born setting goals. But I can tell you that was not the case. So in a very short but as juicy as you can give us way, let's hear your own experience with goal setting. I mean, if I was going to go first on this one, I wouldn't say much though. I would say I'm not sure I was really a goal setting person for a bit. But I know one of the memories I had was around finance. I don't know why I had that as one of my first goal setting things when I was even in secondary school. All those long holidays we have, I won't have anything to do. I'll just like take a book and start envisioning a beautiful resort that at that time I'd not even decided that I was probably going to do Aki, or maybe I'd even picked Aki, maybe it was my SS holidays, I don't know, senior secondary school holidays, I don't know, but I used to have designs of, one resort that I would, be a manager of, an owner of, that, believers can come and relax, and then I used to have those things, and then sometimes I would say, even at that age, if I had ₦1 million, this is how I would spend it. I used to have that. That's the clearest example I would say I ever had growing up around goals. But I would say this part where I started breaking it down into the different areas of my life would have started maybe when I think it will be before I joined C.E.D.A.R. But I know joining C.E.D.A.R and having Reverend Sam give that as an encouragement at the end of the year, that's the way you should write your goals, when you put it into different areas. It was a confirmation for me that, that's definitely the right way to go about it. Instead of just starting a list 1 to 100 and you're like just all over the place. But by the time you say, okay, do it with respect to your work with God, your relationships, your health, then it kind of gives you a bit more simplicity in approaching it. So that for me would be the experience I've had so far. And like Dr. Ogunfayo said earlier, I've had my moments of transferring goals from year to year to year to year. I know that I started swimming in my 30s, even though I probably have been writing that goal for like 10 years before. I'll say, I will learn how to swim this year. I'll learn how to swim this year. And I kept putting it there. I didn't make plans. There were no foundations, right? But the truth is, when the opportunity came, I locked into it because I'd always had it on my goal list. It worked for me that way. So it really depends on how, it would have worked for other people. But Tolu, is there any peculiar thing around goal setting in your own experience that you want to tell us? And we'd like to hear from Oluyemisi and Tope as well.
I think for me, I wasn't intentionally setting goals. I would, per situation that I find myself in, I just make decisions that, this is what I want, and I start working towards it. So if you want to call those decisions setting a goal in those moments, yes, but I actually came to setting holistic goals. And when I look at holistic goals, I'm talking about in different areas of life. Before, so back then, I know that when I was in the university, and my first degree was in microbiology, but by my third year, I made a decision that I was not going to use microbiology for anything. And at that time, I just said, okay, I'm going to graduate I'm going to do well and finish well, but I'm not going to practice microbiology. And so from that time, I had already set a goal as, okay, so if I'm not practicing microbiology, what am I going to do when I leave school? And I knew that I wanted something that was not going to be like specific to a particular industry. I wanted something that could be flexible, and that was how HR came in. That there's HR in almost any industry you find yourself in. Is it school? Is it bank? Is it church? Is it anywhere? There's a form of people capacity building and management of people, and all. And so that was when HR came in. I did not get onto the HR desk immediately. I started building myself for the opportunity when it comes, whenever it came. And when the opportunity came, I recall that year I was in operations, and that year I had set a goal for myself. By December that year, I'm moving to an HR desk, either within this company or outside this company. And December that year, I got a call from my HR department saying, Tolu, are you ready? There's an opening. First, I thought maybe the person, because everybody around me knew. So when you're focused on something, you talk about it, you leave it out. And when the people see that, I have someone here, they will point you in direction of where they know that you desire, So, but in terms of holistically setting goals, I actually came into this body of knowledge to create harmony and all about 6 years ago. And that is where you can say, okay, I want to set goals in my finances, in my health and well-being, and then being intentional. And also not putting yourself in a state of overwhelm, such that, like Tope said, not 1 year ago. So you cannot say that in March 2022, I must have achieved this in finance, achieved this, achieved this. No, you can't achieve everything at the same time. You're only just going to set yourself up for another wahala. You feel bad again that why did I set the goal in the first place? So in terms of actually putting timelines to it, in terms of actually, setting holistic goals such that one area of your life is not suffering, and then you're creating harmony. And that I started doing about 6 years ago.
Lovely,
So,
lovely.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Yemisi, what about you? What has been something memorable around learning to start to do this in your space for you?
Okay, similar to Tolu, I would say I learned it early. Maybe I didn't used to call them goals. Maybe they were dreams or whatever. I don't know what I used to call them. But by the time I was on part 4 in school, at that time, I was already serious with my walk, with God. And, I just knew that my life, I couldn't just be running my life anyhow. I just knew. And I knew that life is time bound. So you need to do things with intentionality. You need to do things intentionally. So I don't think I used to call them goals, but I used to set just target. Guys, I don't know what I used to call. Just target. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. I used to do that a lot from as young as I can recollect, at least that I became an adult and I could take a bit of ownership for my life and my decisions. I used to set those targets for myself. But after a while, when I became older, I realized I had a laundry list of things. I'll just make one long list. I moved from set and I had a long list. And I realized, just like Tope said, you keep rolling them over, rolling.
Yeah.
I think it probably was when I moved to performance management when I realized something called SMART, S-M-A-R-T, that I realized that, look, this list is not what it should be. It has to be specific. So there's some that, on that list, like 4 or 5 things actually mean one.
True.
It actually is focused on
True. Very likely.
That's when I think that, and that was like maybe 10 years ago, I can't remember. Maybe a bit over, I can't remember. When I realized that word SMART, goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. That was when I realized that, okay, no. One, you don't have to achieve 100 things in the year because there are 12 months in the year. You don't have to have 12. You can have only one. I'm breaking it down into small bits. Yeah. When I came to that realization, I became better. Then I started writing it down. Prior to then, it was just in my mind.
Wow.
The next 6 months, this is what I would do. Wow. I'm going to move from here to here. And I want to add that something called the law of attraction, like Tolu said, she made up her mind that by December, whether within the organization or outside the organization, she was going to join HR. Because the whole of her being knew that goal. It came, it resonated towards her. Yeah. And she got it. So that's that's also an advantage of setting goals. Yeah. Somehow things will just align and you'll be able to achieve it.
Yeah.
You'll be able to achieve it.
Awesome.
So I really came into that realization when I knew about the acronym SMART.
Oh, good. Tope Ogunfayo, what about you? There's something I've picked from Tolu and Yemisi. I want to connect it. Hopefully, you will say something that make it a full one for me. But what has been your own experience on this one?
Now you're putting me under pressure to go to do and hear receive direction. No, I'll say. Anyways, I have been exposed to goals maybe a bit longer. Okay, coming from my kind of background, I knew the kind of life I didn't want to live. So I started reading very early. I started getting exposed to motivational speakers, Jim Rohns of this world, Zig Ziglar's of this world, Leslie Browns of this world. So very early, even in my secondary school days, I was already exposed to them. These guys are very big on goals. So I started writing all those goals. I started writing it down, not just in my mind. Of course, they were probably not smart goals, but they were goals anyway. And, God dealt with me at that level. I saw progressive successes, right? So going into the university, I remember vividly every year in my diary, you will see the goals. Goal 1993, goal, you will see them there. And I used to break it down, spiritual goals, and I always started with that. Academic goals, I wanted to graduate as a first-class student. Relationship goals, who are the friends that I'm going to be close with? What are their names? How are we going to connect? Financial goals, they were very modest and on all of that. So, okay, then I was leading a fellowship goals. I wanted to double the number of attendees, have a big church and all of that. So I got exposed then. But like Yemisi also said, I got exposed to SMART goals when I started working in the corporate environment. How you need to measure the goals. How do we measure progress? How do we measure that we're successful and all of that? So it's been like a journey for me. So I started writing goals long time. And then now I have moved from writing those goals yearly to having a 3-5 year plan, as I said. So what I do at the end of the year when everybody's running helter-skelter is I just bring out my 3-5 year plan. Where are we on it? Do we need to change anything? Do we need to change course? Most likely not. What are the things that have been done? What should we then do? So you see, it's been an evolution from just writing it anyway, and I saw some successes, writing it in a smart way every year, and I saw some successes, now going to a 3-5 year outlook.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. If I just want to connect some points that they've shared. So Tolu talked about the fact that, she had made that decision, and then she couldn't help but talk about it. She couldn't help but radiate it. And so when the opportunities came, it was easy for people who even knew, like, Tolu is the person for this job, because she had put herself in that space where she was desiring it enough for people to even know about it. And that's what goal setting does for you. It helps you to identify the opportunities when they are there. Now, Yemisi also talked about the fact that, she used to have it in her mind at some point, and then she started to write it down. And for me, I think that's a very big one, really, when you think about it, because most times we feel comfortable with the fact that we should just, have it in our minds, we can still walk towards it. But the truth is, sometimes when we do that, we don't even remember what we have said for ourselves. And then sometimes we could be overwhelmed. That's the truth. And then many times we're not even clear. When you start to write something down, that's when you know if you're clear on that thing or not. One of my mentors will say something. Some of you will say, I don't like to write down. Okay, sit someone down and tell the person what you're thinking. And let the person say it back to you. When the person says it back to you, you're like, no, that's not what I'm thinking. Then you've not gotten clear enough. Because the idea is you're trying to articulate. That's what writing down does to you. It helps you to articulate. And on the bit of overwhelm, I now remember one year, it was probably in between school, secondary and university. I just knew I was feeling a bit depressed for a bit of time. I was just having a lot of things at the back of my mind and all that. When I wrote it down as a teenager, I must have had nothing less than 50 things on that list. 50 things that were just in my brain scattered there. So what goal setting does for you is it helps you to articulate, it helps you to reduce overwhelm, and you can attract. And then Tope Ogunfayo also said something where he was saying that, he started this way, then he got also into the SMART understanding like Yemisi did, and then he's where he is today. Now he's doing 3 to 5 years. The truth is, start where you are. Start with what you know. And if you're stuck, then there are people you can work with. You have coaches, mentors. You can connect with any of us on this platform. I'm sure we'll be able to support you on the journey, but start with what you know now, because obviously we're all team yay. That means you have no choice but to, consider it as a plus for you, because the process that works. And, just as we round off tonight, I just thought to chip this in because it's the foundation of the Research for Results Mastermind group that we run in the year. And for me, my own realization is that sometimes we have things we want to do, but it's like we are on an escalator going in the wrong way, because we think we want something, but there's an underlying current that is going in the reverse. And that's really how we're thinking about that thing that we want to accomplish. Because for some of us, we've matured enough to be able to say, I want this, and our minds are in that space. Notwithstanding all the contrary circumstances around us, we are set. We are set like flint. How does the Bible say your face is set like flint, right? So you're in that zone. But for some people, there's a drawback. And that's the reason why we have Research for Results. Because, we could easily have said, we'll have a program, we'll call coaches like Tolu, Afonja, Oluyemisi, and Tope to come and, facilitate for us, and we'll go into the goals. They are already running programs around that. But for me, I feel like in addition to being a part of some of these goal-setting opportunities, is being able to understand what is going on underneath. And that's why we do Research for Results, because Research for Results actually focused on your mindset and how to take charge of it, because that is really the starting point. Because some people are like, oh, but I don't know what I want. Oh, but instead, I'll say, I know what I don't want. Or, they're in that space. And that's the reason why we have Research for Results. Like I said, it's basically a mastermind group setting. And that's really the model we push out a lot on the Polished Lens, because I believe that in the mastermind setting, you're getting much more than what you could learn from a facilitator or from someone who is anchoring that session. Because every other person is bringing their experience, and then you can rub together and come out with a more refined perspective. And that's why we approach it that way. And so we had one last year, was our very first, and Tolu was a part of that. And Tolu, I would like to hear from you tonight, just before everyone leaves us with a final word. What was that experience like for you? Because we focused on the book As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, and we looked into certain principles as well that I believe have helped me and can help anyone to actually create those exceptional beginnings that we have in our minds as we are setting goals and towards the destination we desire.
Thank you, Bukola. About this time last year, I think, yes, we had Research for Results, and it just helped me to become that person that would achieve what I had set for myself, and in becoming that person, the power of your thoughts, thinking about who you are, what you are, how do you see yourself, and what do you identify yourself as or with, to be able to achieve whatever it is that we wanted, and one particular thing that stuck with me was, I think it's the law of polarity, opposite sides. And, most times we come from the negative, what if this doesn't work? But what if it works? So that is the opposite dimension. So why don't we look at it in the positive, in terms of, I'm doing this and I'm going to achieve it. And you run with that positivity instead of looking at the opposite end, that, okay, all the things that can go wrong. And because you are dwelling on all the things that can go wrong, you will rather not take action. So it was very powerful for me. I saw myself become somebody else. Every day we are becoming. But then, and I recall when you said something about picking your thoughts, and that is identifying at what point you are having a negative, disempowering thought, that seed you may be planting that is stopping you from actually taking action on what you want to do. So that seemed like a huge, a lot of work to do. But, once you're conscious about it, and you come back and ask yourself, what am I really thinking about? Why am I stuck in this element? Why am I not doing what I want to do? And then go back to what did you think about it in the first place, and then changing that thought. So yes, I recommend, if you do, anybody, whether you make it this year, you can make it next year if this year is full, and you can beg her to have another batch if you are so interested.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm sure we'll consider that. But I know Tope, Ogunfayo, and Oluyemisi have also read the book before. Oluyemisi has been on a session where the book was also used. Oluyemisi, what would you say was a top takeout that you cannot forget? And we have very short time now left. But what would you say was a top takeout for you from the book? Because that's the material and the content we're going to be digging deep into on the program.
Okay, so that's the book, As a Man Thinketh.
As a Man Thinketh, yes.
I mean, just like the title says, that's a book that I read every year, As a Man Thinketh, because the power of your thoughts, what you have, what you see is it starts from inside of you. Your thoughts direct the actions that you take, and the actions that you take direct the results that you achieve. So it starts from your thoughts. So just like Tolu was saying, immediately my thoughts are not aligning to what I want to see with the goal I have set for myself. I reset. That doesn't mean it's failure. So the fact that you're thinking negatively doesn't mean it's failure, or you're thinking you can't achieve it is failure. No, but it's for you to realign, come back to say that this is what I set out to achieve. I'm not going in that course. What has happened? Let me think through it again. Yeah. Go back to your thoughts, realign your thoughts, and they would affect the actions that you take and the results that you achieve. Awesome. So your thoughts really impact on your results. Everything starts with a thought. Yeah.
That means that for anyone that might be struggling with, results they've wanted to achieve in time past, and maybe that's the reason why you've not, dabbled into goal setting for a while now, then the thought is something we need to revisit together, and Reset for Results will definitely be a recommended one for you. Tope Ogunfayo, I know you've also been, you've studied that content as well. What are your thoughts about it?
I think the only additional thing I would add is a lot of times people starting the year setting goals, there is a lot of focus on skill set. What do I need to do? What do I need to get? What qualification? What that? And that's important. But we fail to focus on what's more important than that, which is your mindset. Skill sets are important. Mindsets are more important. If you have the right skill set without the right mindset, you are at the end of a long rope, right? What this Reset for Result does for you is it lays the foundation for the right mindset, such that if you now get the skill set, you're flying high. So it will be a worthy investment of your time to, have the right mindset so that the skill set will work.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And since you already have the floor, what would be your final words for us tonight?
Yeah, I think final words will be where I started from. The game of life is only interesting when you have a goalpost. You take away the goalpost, game of life is over. Everyone go home. The excitement ends. You want to live a happy life, you want to live a fulfilled life, you need to tie your goal to your purpose, put a goalpost there, score goals, and then celebrate.
Thank you. Yemisi, what about you? What are your final words for us tonight?
Final words. Really, it's just, life would be, you'll just be running helter-skelter without goals. You won't achieve so much. You achieve much more when you set goals. It's nothing big. Let me conclude on that. Goal setting is nothing big. Don't call it goal setting. You can call it GS to make life easy for you. Just do something. Because it makes life fulfilling for you, and you would see the results. You'll be able to see tangible results that you would achieve.
Thank you for that. And Tolu, what about you?
I would end by what I started with. Is either you're setting the goal or the goal is setting you. And when the goal is setting you, you find yourself running kitty and running kata kata, and then you're not achieving. You seem to have a senseless direction in life. So what goals does for us is to help us to stay focused, gives us a sense of being, fulfillment and achievement, as we progress and move on in life. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So I don't want to leave you tonight without also letting you know that these are people you can connect with on this journey. I know Tolu has a program that she's going to be running. When does it start, Tolu?
So I have the Couples Dashboard Design Program, which is a marriage goal setting webinar.
Okay.
And it's coming up on Sunday evening, 9 p.m. West African time.
Okay.
So for more information, just connect with me.
Okay, all right. Okay, yeah. Good. So Tolu is on Tolu is on Instagram and on Facebook as Tolu Afonja. So that's where to go. And if you have any other thing around that, then you can definitely ask her. Now, if you're also like, okay, I'm working in a structured environment, I've never really thought about it, how do I? Yemisi is the person to plug into, and Yemisi is also available on Instagram and on Facebook and on LinkedIn particularly. You heard career, so that should be the first place you should go to if you're looking out for Yemisi, Oluyemisi, Wole-Ojomo. If you're also thinking about charting a course out of where you're working and you want to change organizations, she will be able to help you, look at a plan around that and look out for opportunities for you on that. And then, of course, if you're someone who is seeking mentoring, I can tell you for sure that Ogunfayo is the person to work with. This is someone that has done really, really well for himself in the career space, and he has experience and connections. It's one thing to have experience, another thing to have connections in the right circle that could also help you to do well. And for sure, we have almost full capacity for Research for Results, and we have just about slots for 1 or 2 more people, and we close registration like Saturday because the invitation mail goes out this weekend, right? And I tell you, just like Tope Ogunfayo said, if you really want to get to the destination we've been talking about today, a place to start is the mindset. And on this mastermind group, we're just going to be meeting 3 times over 3 weeks. You will have your mind really set properly. You would know that you can. You would appreciate the fact that you've been equipped by God, right? And you have what it takes to actually design that thing you want, create that thing and run with it, because it is there. We all can do it. And like I always say, you can thrive in whatever season or space you find yourself in. So thank you so much for being here with us and joining this session. Thank you for also being part of the panel today, Tolu, Yemisi, and Tope Ogunfayo. And we appreciate you. We look forward to more conversations with you in the future. And you can unmute and say your final group byes. I see Tope is still muted.
Bye. Thank you for having us.
Me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next time.
Great session tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Yeah, bye.